Europe didn't fall. That's the lie everyone believes. Because collapse isn't loud anymore. It's silent, administrative, legal. Europe didn't lose a war. It opted out of power, and that decision is now irreversible. If Europe were collapsing, you'd expect chaos. Instead, you see clean cities, functioning trains, social benefits, calm streets, which creates the illusion of success. But here's the twist: empires don't fall when life gets hard. They fall when life gets comfortable enough to stop fighting decline. Stability became the goal, power became optional. And the moment power becomes optional, history starts closing the account. Most people think Europe's problem is money. It isn't. Europe's problem is time. The continent is aging faster than it can adapt. Low birth rates mean fewer workers, more dependence, permanent budget stress. Even if Europe fixed every policy tomorrow, demographics would still drag it downward for decades. You can't stimulus your way out of math. Every aging empire tells the same story: less risk, more debt, slower decline. Europe built the most advanced social systems in history: healthcare, pensions, worker protections. This was Europe's greatest achievement and eventually its greatest constraint. Welfare states require growth, but Europe regulated growth away. So instead of expanding the pie, Europe started redistributing a shrinking one. At first, nobody noticed. Then productivity stalled, then innovation slowed, then young talent left. Success locked the system in place and prevented adaptation. Europe didn't run out of energy, it chose dependency. Cheap imports replaced nuclear expansion, domestic production, strategic resilience. It looked efficient. Until energy became political. Energy isn't an input, it's leverage. When energy costs spiked, factories shut down, industry fled, supply chains fractured. A continent that can't control energy, can't control prices, can't control industry, can't control sovereignty. The euro unified Europe. That was the promise. It removed the one tool countries used to survive: imbalance. With no currency control, weak economies can't reset, strong economies can't adjust, debt becomes permanent, so crises never end. They accumulate. The euro didn't create unity. It froze divergence into place. Slow decline feels stable until it isn't. Europe didn't abandon defense. It outsourced it. Peace felt permanent. History felt finished. Here's the twist: security without sacrifice creates dependency. When defense spending drops, so does strategic freedom. Power unused eventually disappears, and once it's gone, you don't get to vote it back. Europe hasn't collapsed because collapse isn't the goal. Management is. Modern systems don't break. They get managed into mediocrity. Standards don't crash, they plateau. Freedom doesn't vanish, it narrows. Decline without drama is the most dangerous kind because no one resists it. Europe didn't lose its people, it lost its ambitious ones. Young, mobile, highly educated Europeans increasingly leave for the US, Asia, the Middle East, not because Europe is unlivable, but because it's capped. When the most productive citizens leave, the welfare system doesn't shrink. The burden concentrates. Those who remain pay more, receive less, and adapt downward. This isn't migration, it's selective extraction of future growth. Empires don't fall when people flee, they fall when the right people do. As power declined, something else expanded: rules. Europe became the world's regulatory superpower. But here's the twist: regulation feels like control until it replaces production. Europe doesn't build platforms, it regulates them. Doesn't dominate tech, it finds it. Regulation is what systems rely on when innovation slows. Paperwork expands as leverage contracts. Control without output is not strength, it's compensation. Europe talks about digital sovereignty, but here's the reality: most critical digital infrastructure, clouds, chips, platforms, is foreign controlled. Here's the twist: in modern systems, digital dependence is economic dependence. You can regulate platforms, you can't replace them quickly. When data, payments, and infrastructure belong to others, so does your leverage. Power in the 21st century is invisible until it's unavailable. Europe used immigration to offset demographics. It had no choice. Immigration without integration doesn't fix aging, it adds friction. If productivity doesn't rise, population growth doesn't help. Welfare states require cohesion. Cohesion requires shared incentives. Without them, the system strains from within. This isn't cultural, it's structural. Math doesn't care about ideology, so why not change? Because Europe's systems are optimized for preserving consensus, not speed. Every reform takes years, requires unanimity, loses momentum. The very structures designed to prevent catastrophe also prevent adaptation. By the time consensus forms, conditions have already changed. Stability becomes inertia, and inertia is fatal in competitive systems. Europe's future isn't collapse, it's management. Managing expectations, managing stagnation, managing dependency. Here's the final twist. Managed decline is politically safer than reform. No riots, no revolutions, no headlines, just less influence each decade. History doesn't remember who managed decline well, only who adapted and who didn't. Europe didn't fail. It succeeded and then stopped evolving. The most dangerous moment for any civilization is believing the work is done. Power requires growth, energy, demographics will lose anyone long enough, and history quietly moves on. Europe didn't collapse, it became optional. And history never favors optional powers.